Welcome to the new. I'm Mocha, one of your co hosts.
And I'm Diana Dove. And so for today, we are going to start with just some celebrities who had some milestone birthdays this past weekend. It's quite a few of them that are celebrating some milestone birthdays. Definitely celebrities that you all have heard of and have just done great projects and entertainment for us. So we have Angelina Jolie. She'll be turning the big 4-0. Russell Brand will also be turning the big 4-0. And then Joyce Meyer will be turning 72. Theo Rossi will be turning the big 4-0 as well, and he played Juice from the Sons of Anarchy. And El DeBarge will be 54, and then we also have LB Shore that will be 47.
Great. And there were also some memorable events in history this past weekend. In 1967, the 19th Emmy Awards, Mission Impossible, The Monkees, Don Knotts, and Lucille Ball all won Emmys. In 1972, Black Panther activist Angela Davis is acquitted of killing a white guard. And also in 1972, tennis great Billie Jean King wins versus Yvonne Goolagong in the 71st Women's French Open. In 1973, a patent for the ATM is granted to Don Wetzel, Tom Barnes, and George Chastain. So I like to say thank you to those three guys. For them, just because of them, we don't have to stand in line at the bank. We just go to the ATM and be done with it.
Exactly.
But I have one question. I wonder if they use the ATM themselves, and if they just go to the ATM and be like, "Ooh, I've invented this. I invented this. I started this.
Right,
I started this."
right.
Because
And they may also know, some tricks to the
exactly,
ATM or ways that you can hack the ATM, and
exactly. And I
so
wish they would tell me.
so they may not use it for that reason, just to
Exactly.
keep their information safe and
Right.
secure into themselves. So
Right.
a lot of times people have different quirks like that. When they do
Mm-hmm.
create something, they don't actually use it because they know the shortcomings of that
Exactly.
particular invention or
Right.
anything that they may have created.
Right. Also, another event, famous event from this past weekend in 1982. For y'all you Trekkies out there, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan is released in the U.S. In 1984, golf legend Arnold Palmer fails to make the U.S. Open golf tournament for the first time in 32 years.
Wow.
Have you ever tried those Arnold Palmers at when you go to the restaurant?
Oh, I love
I
them.
do
I
too.
love them. When I came down to Atlanta, that was one of the things that was kind of like a staple for
Mm-hmm.
me in the South was an Alma Palmer. And at first, I didn't
Exactly.
know what it was until somebody explained to me it was just
Mm-hmm.
sweet tea and lemonade mixed together.
Exactly.
But that's definitely one of my favorite drinks.
Mine also. That is the bomb. So if y'all haven't tried it, y'all need to try it. Also, in 1984, Bruce Springsteen released "Born in the USA." That was,
Okay.
to this day, that's like one of my favorite albums.
Okay.
I'm dating myself now. I'm saying album, but
Oh.
it's still. I'm dating myself, but yes, it is still one of my favorite albums of all time. And it doesn't seem like it was that long ago when that album came out. Also, another memorable event in 1990, Greyhound Bus Corporation filed for bankruptcy, which was interesting to me because I never knew that they ever filed for bankruptcy, but they're still going strong now, so apparently they got over that hurdle. Also in 1990, Dr. Jack Kevorkian assisted an Oregon woman to commit suicide. That was the start of the debate over the right to die.
Wow.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
1990. Also in 1990, the LA Dodger Ramon Martinez strikes out 18, 18, not one, not eight, but 18 Atlanta Braves. How did that
Whoa. Oh, wow.
happen? So those were just some of the memorable events that happened this past weekend in history.
All right.
Okay. Now it's time for us to do a little girl talk.
Well, we love girl talk.
Exactly. I know
We
I
could
do.
talk in our sleep
I
if we
know.
could.
I know I do. One of the big stories that happened here recently, well, not here, but in Cincinnati, was the incident with the kid falling into the gorilla pit. And there's a
Yes.
big debate going on from people saying that they think that the gorilla should not have been killed, and some people say that it should have been done because they don't know what would have happened, with the kid. That's a 450-pound animal, and he's very strong. Jack Hanna, who I love also, he said that a gorilla has the power. They can literally crack a coconut with one hand. And a human, you would have to have like a sledgehammer or something very powerful like that,
right,
in order to smash it. And they can smash it with their bare hands.
Right.
Which means that he's very powerful, and you can't leave a 4-year-old kid in there with a gorilla because you never know what would happen.
Absolutely. And when you look at the footage, I mean, the gorilla and gorillas just in general, I mean, they walk around like they weigh even more than 450 pounds. So let alone a 3-year-old boy that's in the pit with him.
Right.
And you don't know what the gorilla's intentions are. You don't know what may be going on in their mind. They could be hungry. They could be afraid. So I think that the zoo definitely made the right decision. I know it was a difficult decision for them to make, but when you're talking about someone's life and a 3-year-old boy, if you have to kill an animal in order to save a life, I think that that's something that has to be done, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, a life was saved from that.
Right. But I don't hear much emphasis being put on the parents. I mean, the kid, he had to he had to climb through, I guess, the opening. He also had to climb over a fence or something like that in order for him to get into the pit.
And wires. So, he had to climb through wires.
Exactly. So where was his parents? That they were not paying. I mean, I know I'm a mother, and your kids, sometimes if you take your eye from 1 minute, they're gone. So it seems to me that the parents should have been watching him more, because he had to do all those things to get into that pit. So the parents should be held responsible also. And I mean, I understand, they're very angry about the gorilla, being killed, because he's been a part of the zoo for a long time. But I feel that the parents should be held responsible also. So what do you think about that?
Well, at the same time, my kids are my niece and my 2 nephews, and you can just look away at the sky, and before you know it, they have run off. And while you're looking for them, they're going through wires, jumping over walls, and whatever else, toddlers or kids do. So I do think stuff like that can happen. And I think it is a very tough decision to say, oh, well, the parents, they weren't doing their job. They weren't watching their child. When, I mean, like I said, you can literally look away and they've just ran off, because kids are very small, very fast. They're very smart as well.
Right.
So they know how to hide. They know where to go, so you don't find them. Because I know that sources said that the child was talking about wanting to get in to see the monkeys.
Oh, really?
With his mom. So, I mean, he was focused. He wanted to get in
so
that
he was
water.
Determined to get
exactly.
In there. He was determined.
To touch him or to talk to the gorilla, whatever kids wanted to do. But I do think that stuff like that does happen, unfortunately, and that it's not always the parents' fault. It could really be an accident.
Exactly. Wow. So I guess we'll be getting more updates to come to the outcome of that story. But I just found that to be very interesting. And, with the two sides, with people saying that they should be punished, and, that the gorilla should not have been harmed. I just thought that was a very interesting subject.
Yeah. And you never necessarily want to take, you never want to take an animal's life. But if they were caught in the moment and they had to make a very quick decision, and the first thing that came to mind was, well, we just need to kill him. Because I know that there were also talks of giving him a tranquilizer. And so, but some experts say that it takes a little time for that to work. And so it can take roughly, experts say, 10 to 15 minutes. And by that time, the boy may have been seriously injured, or he may have been dead. So, I mean, the quickest thing would have been to shoot him. And I know the zoo said that they do not regret the decision that they made. And I definitely agree with them, because if the boy had gotten injured or if he died, the story would have been flipped and said,
Exactly.
why didn't the zoo shoot the boy, or why didn't they take the necessary, steps to ensure that the gorilla was dead?
Right.
So, it is an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, a life was saved.
Exactly. I mean, they're being taken out of their natural habitat. I mean, their natural instinct is to do the same things that they would do if they were in their own habitat. So if he would have, harmed that kid, you can't really blame him, I guess you can say, because that's what he's, that's what he naturally does. So they have to, take precautions to do what they feel is right in order to save a life. And so that's what they did.
Yeah, I do think, the research or whatever needs to be done, additional steps need to be taken so that every animal is secure from humans or anyone entering. Now, of course, you can make something very, very secure and it can still be broken. But, this is definitely a time for them to take with the zoo in order for them to look at each of their animals, look at their enclosures, look at their cages, and make sure that they are 100% safe. Because if not, then that's not a place that humans need to be.
Exactly. I agree with that fully, because like I said, at the end of the day, he did not escape from the zoo.
That's, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't do anything out of the way and escape from the zoo to put any danger to any of the other patrons there.
That's true.
That's kid,
true.
He
went
into his habitat. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
Yeah. So I just think that was just a tragic story, but it could have been even worse, like you said, if something would have happened to that kid. So they had to do what they had to do in order to save a kid's life.
Exactly.
It's just unfortunate for
the
gorilla.
It is very unfortunate, for the gorilla or any animals that have to die. But at the same time, again, we are on the other side of this, and a life was saved.
Exactly.
So if we continue to focus on that aspect of the story, then I think we can definitely just move forward.
Yes, move forward. And I just always find it interesting when you have the people outside picketing, and it's like they really didn't even give any thought to the kids' welfare. I mean, I understand that because I love animals too.
Me too. I
really
as well.
love animals, especially dogs. I love dogs.
Me
and
too.
I just love animals in general. But I mean, if it had to do with coming down to the kid or taking care of the gorilla, then I think I would choose the kid every time. Maybe that's just the mommy in me. I don't know.
But to your point, I really love dogs too. I know that they are like a member of the family, and so
you get attached to them.
Absolutely. And I love animals as well, and I believe that they should live the same way that we live. But to your point, if you have to choose whether it was a life of a 3-year-old boy or if it was a gorilla, I mean, we have to go with the human life, at the end of the day. And like I said before, they had to make a very quick decision. So if you're making a very quick decision, the first thing that you would do would be, shoot him, because we don't know what he is capable of.
Exactly.
And again, he is 450 pounds.
Exactly.
So unfortunate situation for the gorilla. I wish it didn't have to go down that way. But again, in tight situations, you do have to do what you feel is best at the moment.
Exactly.
So we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back. So you stay tuned.
With more talk. All right. Thank you.
Okay. 9 months later, that's when I came. That's what you did, just dropped your seed. Took time to plant me, but hesitated to give me your name. See, it's a shame for the greatness I have become. Took 2 to make me, but recognition only given to 1. And that's my mom, who has fought hard to raise me for all of these years. Worked 2 jobs, shared many tears. School fees came and many days I got sick. Bills went behind and things got turned off quick. When things got hard and I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, my only question was, Dad, where are you? See, I don't understand. Why didn't you just take the responsibility and be a man? And now I'm here, afraid to love, afraid to trust, to be in a relationship, telling myself that I need to let go and be brave. But how could I love someone without that love never given, the love that you should have gave? But I refuse to let your absence hold me down, and I refuse to hurt over this, and I refuse to frown. See, I'm a woman now, and I won't have it anymore. I've thrown away that key, and I've locked that door. And like I said time and again before, I'm through with this, and from now on I will soar.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
I was over there like, wow. Just listening to every word. I mean, what made you get into spoken word?
Spoken word, that poem I actually wrote when I was 17, and I'm going to be 25 this year, so that's an 8-year-old poem. And I got into spoken word just through my teenage years. Writing was just kind of an outlet for me to just express my emotions, because I'm very introverted. So writing was just a way to get this out there. So
wow, okay.
Great. Now, I wanted to find out, what's your process for when you prepare to go on stage? Some artists, they have like, some are superstitious. They'll have certain things they want to wear a particular color or something like that. Do you have a particular process that you go into to prepare yourself?
Process? I don't like to practice. I know that sounds crazy. I'm such a in the moment type of person. Okay. You know, I do it over in my head, but as far as like practicing in the mirror and things like that, I really don't like to practice. Okay. And you know, I wear carnelian for confidence and courage. You know, just focus on just giving my best in that moment. So that's my process.
Okay.
All right. And is there anyone who motivates you to do spoken word?
Motivates me to do spoken word. I don't follow a lot of spoken word artists, which is kind of sad. But I mean, I'm a big music head. You know, I love music, so I listen to, you know, just personal artists who speak from personal experience, because that's what I do through my art is. Okay. So I would say, you know, artists that motivate me, Jhené Aiko. We're getting into music, so I'll be like naming off a list of people, but you know, she's a big inspiration, you know, and just other artists in life that I aspire to be like success-wise. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the piece that you just finished for us, which was great, by the way, is that from your personal experience, or is most of your work from your own personal experiences, or is it from stories that you hear from other people?
That's me. That's all me. You know, I'm on this journey of success, and I like to talk about my upbringing, coming from a single parent home, you know, coming from the islands, and, you know, just to take people on this journey, because that's the ultimate goal for me, is to be successful in my art and in my work. So, you know, a lot of the stories I talk about, you know, being raised in a single parent home, and that was just, I digged it up from 17 years old. I thought about, you know, so that's all me.
Okay, good.
So are you originally from Atlanta, or are you from somewhere else?
I'm from the Bahamas, born and raised.
Wow.
Nebraska, came from New Mexico 2 months ago, and hopefully Atlanta is my final destination, because this is where I've wanted to be since, you know, gosh, for years. So, you know, school has kind of taken me many places, but my roots are the Bahamas. I have it on right now, so.
Okay. Atlanta's the place to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the difference in being an artist here as opposed to being in the Bahamas? Is there like a difference? Is it more acceptable in the United States, or do you think that it's more acceptable in the Bahamas?
I feel being here, there's more opportunities. I mean, I always say I'm an island girl with big city dreams. Okay. And I left the Bahamas when I was 17, and I did music like in high school and things like that. But as far as really making it like big, you know, you have to come to America or Europe, or, you know, there isn't really an outlet for that back home. So a lot of people, you know, we leave to, you know, pursue our goals and dreams. So this definitely is the place to be.
Is there a particular message or theme that you try to get across to your audiences when you perform or through your art?
I always try to have purpose. You know, I like to speak from experience. You know, I feel like if I could share this personal story, then the next person can read it or hear it or listen to it and know that, well, hey, you know, someone else went through it and they got over it, or, you know, they strived, they became successful. I just try to do art that's positive. You know, I want to be a healer through my work, you know, whether that's opening people's mind to different philosophies or just, you know, just make feel good music. That's the ultimate goal. So
Right. Now there's a lot of young artists your age who it seems like they're kind of like they're more into, I guess, what's happening in pop culture, or they kind of follow a certain niche of what's going to be popular. So do you ever feel like you choosing to do this career is not as popular as maybe you doing maybe pop music or something like that?
You know, I actually thought about this recently, you know, just where I want to go as far as the music goes, and the industry is really hard to, it's just hard to kind of decipher. I would say as far as this goes, I definitely want to be more independent. You know, I don't see myself being mainstream. My friend was like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "No, I just see myself in the mainstream market because of the type of stuff that I talk about. You know, I was thinking about this today. Like, I want to make art that's timeless. You know, like, you know, back in the day, like City High, What Would You Do? That song comes on. It's from way back when. You could still rock with it. That's what I want to do with my art and music, is just make stuff that's timeless. And, you know, so as far as mainstream and pop culture, I don't see myself there, but if I end up there, then, you know, I'll go along with the journey. But, you know.